So I grew up here. I lived here my whole life. I went to Harbor Beach high school. Well, now I go to SVSU, and I'm an education major, early childhood. I'm involved a lot on campus. I'm the president of Special Olympics there, so I put on the Area 22 Special Olympics games. And I'm also in Habitat for Humanity, so I've traveled to Florida and Arizona in the past year to help build a house. And we go with a group of 10 to 12 people. We flew out. Into Florida, I went in February, so over spring break. And we worked on a house, and that was mostly foundation. We helped build like the trusses, we put the windows in, all that kind of stuff. I have all kinds of pictures that were awesome. And in Arizona, we also flew out, but that was more like landscaping, but it wasn't like throwing some grass seed and watering it. It was like using a pickaxe to dig a trench, so it was insane. But in Arizona, I got to meet one of the homeowners. She told us her story, and all of us were in tears because it was such a heartfelt story. She was from Mexico originally, and against her will, she moved into America with her aunt, who made her do some things that no one should have to do. She wouldn't let her go to school because she was just cruel, and she eventually snuck out every day while her aunt was at work and went to school. And then she met her husband, who was emotionally abusive, and she had 3 kids with him. And she was living in poverty her whole life. Her kids had never had a bath. They've never experienced schooling. They never had clothes or food or anything like that. And then she got a job as a receptionist, and someone told her about Habitat. So she applied, and she got denied because she was still legally married, but she had just separated from her husband who was emotionally abusive. So she had to go through all the paperwork, go through all the steps to get a legal divorce. And then she did get accepted. But with Habitat, you don't just get accepted and they build a house for you. You have to put in so many hours into your own house. You have to prove that you can make the set amount. So she had to do all those steps. She finally had her house. The first thing she did was give her baby a bath because he had never had a bath before, and he was 2 years old. And she said they didn't have any furniture, but they were fine with sleeping on the carpet until they could get furniture because her kids had never had that. And we were all in tears by the end of it. So I volunteered a lot with NHS at my high school, and at colleges there's so much to volunteer for, and it's hard to just like hone down into one thing. So I figured I might as well do one big thing to make up for when I was focused on classes and I couldn't volunteer as much as I'd like to. So I had applied for the spring break trip because I wasn't really going anywhere, and I got accepted, and it was amazing. So I was like, well, I want to go on every trip I possibly can. So I applied on the next closest one, and that was Arizona. And next year I'm going to apply to be a leader, so I'll take 10 people and I'll lead their group into a site. It's very humbling. It's like all the problems you have here, they're nothing in comparison to the problems these people have had. It's just such a humbling experience. I'm so happy I was a part of it, and I'm happy I was able to experience that. When I hear people say I don't want to leave, like that's okay. You don't want to leave them, but you need to at least experience what else is out there. Even because when I went to Florida, I was like, oh, it's spring break. I'm gonna build a house for a couple hours, then go to the beach. But I want it to be there. Even the construction workers that are talking to you, they have interesting stories. And then there's like the families that come and work with you, and like everyone has an interesting story. Because like you said, we're so sheltered that you go just across the country and you can hear everybody's stories, and it's amazing. It was definitely different because it was a different culture, different area, but I loved it. I love experiencing new things. Like when we were in Arizona, the one homeowner invited us into her house, and she cooked us cactus tacos, and we hung out at her house all evening, and we just talked about like her life, and the construction workers were also there with their families. So we got to meet with all of them and just hear about their culture and like what they do for fun. And like it's interesting because there in the summer when we're outside, it's like 120 plus. So they're hiding in the house. And to me that was weird. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be warm, but wow, that's really warm. Like just like that, like little things that you wouldn't even think about. I think it's interesting. I just wanted to keep going and help out wherever, even if it's small. Like you think it's small. Like I put a window in Air Florida. Like that was fun. But that's their house that I helped. I helped that house, and I want to help around here. And I just want to keep going. And I want to encourage others to do the same thing. Even like if you think you're doing it for yourself, you are also helping out the people tremendously, like more than you can even imagine. There's nothing wrong with coming back, but I think it's important to just experience it, even if just for a week, building a house in a close-knit community, because we're always there for each other, and that kind of started it. And then once you get involved at SVSU or at any college, there's people that are also there for you, and it's kind of a contagious feeling. Once you're involved in something, you want to just keep going and move up the ladder and become a leader and pass that down to someone else. I did a lot with the hospital because my mom works there. I did like the chili cook-off where I would scoop chili for the community, and we planted flowers in the landscape every spring. I did a lot with homecoming and like coming home, helping set up, make the decorations and that kind of thing. I think we're moving back more years now. I think as for Habitat, it'll be harder to leave the state like I do now just because it's not readily available for me. As a college student, there's always opportunities for me. So that's why you want to take them all while you can. But there's people that need help right around the corner. There's a Habitat house that we're building in Saginaw that I can always go and help any day of the week. And I'm sure there's more in Michigan. I haven't really looked into that, but I definitely just around the corner from Saginaw, they have a house building. I would like to. I definitely would like to. Yeah. So Habitat is an organization that provides housing for low-income families. There's the Restore, which they just donate their items for people who just come and buy them at a lower price. And I know, like I said, in Saginaw, there's a house. All you have to do is show up on the build site, and they'll hand you a hammer and say, go ahead and do this. And on the website, they have all the different sites and how to get involved. They embrace volunteers, and they want to know you. They want to know your story. I think so. They need to put away their egos, put away their opinions on what's currently going on, and just help someone in need. I think if we allow it to, I think there's a lot of stereotypes when it comes to low-income families. But I think if we allow the feeling that you get when you're helping someone, if we allow that to shape our current government and that kind of thing, I think it'd be a good thing.